Moved 4 times. I don't know how many of you are aware of that in our 20 years. And every time it came time to move, something would happen that kind of pushed us. The universe is always like that. And Dixie and Jennifer, too, are board members, are well aware of this. Something would happen that would give us a little nudge to go on to a different plane. And now our electricity, we didn't have heat for 3 weeks. And of course, Angelo got to be a Marine. And I would call him and say, I'm not a minister at this point, I'm putting on my Marine hat, and then I lay down the law. If you want us here, we need heat. And then the carpet, that's my next big they were out Friday, and the poor guy, he was Mexican-American, he didn't speak much English, but he understood me pointing things. And he said, I will fix it, don't worry, it will be fixed. I said, it can't be fixed, because the water is coming up from down below. You've already done everything you can possibly do. This building needs to be torn down. And basically, all you can do, every year we go through this, I have to use my emotion to get things done, is that you need to come after the big rain and shampoo the carpet and get the water off the carpet. That's all you can do. And so anyway, and I said, it's disrespectful to my church to have you come, and when you come to shampoo it, just shampoo that little section where the stain is. I mean, that's an insult. I'm not going to put up with it anymore. So anyway, that's what I, what do you think? Is that cool? But the bottom line is it's all good and it's all God, because we experience these things that give us a little nudge to go to a higher level of consciousness, right? And so it's happening, and it's happening. And basically, thanks for that talk, because it gets me into my talk. We are so blessed to be here. And what we're doing, we're empowering our lives by keeping our minds open to an ever-expanding awareness of what? That we are an eternal spiritual presence with tremendous powers of creativity. That's what that was all about with Linda. That we are in charge. We're the sons and daughters of the CEO of the universe, for God's sake. So why are we here moaning and groaning about our building? That's ridiculous. So all we need to do is put in mind exactly what we want. Anthony DeMello, I love this guy. I don't know if you ever read any of his stuff. He came out with a book called Awareness. And what he said is that and I put a quote here, because if I Pizelo-ize it, it won't be what he said. He said that life is a banquet. But the tragedy is that many people are starving to death. Isn't that interesting? Life is a banquet, but the tragedy is that most people, he said, not many, he said most people are starving to death. And then he goes on to tell this story, which is kind of cool. He said, you know, just to give you an example, and I don't know if it's true or not true, it doesn't matter, it's a good example. He said these people were in a raft off the coast of Brazil, and they were dying of thirst. They didn't know that they were floating on fresh water. And what happened was, he said, there's this tremendous river coming into the sea with such force that it pushed this fresh water a couple miles into the sea. And all they had to do was scoop the water out and be aware of the water, and they wouldn't have died of thirst. And they died of thirst. And so that was pretty awesome. And we are, and what I love about this is that we came on this existence with all the tremendous power and presence, everything that we would need to experience this life form that we call the human experience. And we're kind of like that, like those people on the raft. Because we're surrounded by the gifts of life itself. The air we breathe. The air we breathe. And how many of us wake up in the morning and say, thank you, universe, for providing this life-sustaining breath that I'm taking every month, and every day, every moment actually. And we don't realize the importance of this until we see people like our dearly beloved Bob Verstraeten, who had COP or whatever they call it, emphysema. He couldn't breathe, and he treasured every breath, but he had to fight for every breath. But we take it for granted. We have a body that heals itself, for goodness sakes. You know, and so just last week I had to cut my hand. Of course, I'm older now, and I didn't realize I did it. So I looked and said, I'm bleeding. But anyway, that's beside it. So I'm bleeding. So what I do, I look at it, and I put some antibiotic salve on it, and here it is a week later, and I look for the cut. It's gone. This body healed itself. Talk about a gift of life itself. We're being smothered with this tremendous gift. It's pretty awesome. I shouldn't say the word smother is terrible. And you shouldn't. But what this month is all about is about something different than the air we breathe and a body that heals itself. And as Deepak says, it's a thinking body. We have, what, 30 trillion cells, and they're thinking cells. They know what they're doing. But that's Bob's territory. We'll let him talk about quantum physics and all that stuff. But there's another part of us that's pretty awesome, and Linda was dealing with it today, that we come equipped with this tremendous dynamic power within ourselves, and we celebrate that this month, that we have this tremendous energy force that is creative. And we can call it whatever we want. We can call it the mom within, because this month we celebrate that. And our mothers really symbolize that tremendous loving energy. You can call it the subconscious, call it whatever you want. I like to call it the divine feminine presence. It's that nurturing, loving part of who we are that always says yes to us. We've heard this time and again that God always says yes, depending on your belief system. Our belief system is that God always says yes, and whatever our thoughts are. And by and large, this divine presence, a friend of mine, Reverend Helen Street. How many of you knew about Reverend Helen Street? What an awesome minister. She was an icon. She used to call it Big Sweetie. Yeah. I used to love to talk to her. She would say, Big Sweetie and I are going to have a tremendous day tomorrow. We're going to experience this universe. We're going to have all kinds of challenges. It's going to be pretty awesome. And what she was saying is there's nothing to think about or worry about. We're here to experience the human drama, for God's sakes. And so let's experience it. I always like to say this. We need to identify with that which we are. We are this life form of God itself. We're the sons and daughters of the CEO of the universe, for God's sakes, and we're one with them. And we need to identify with that. And the bottom line is, what we need to do, we come upon this planet, and I think there's many of us want to figure out what is our purpose there. Anybody ever asked you, I don't know what my purpose is. What is my purpose here? Yeah, okay. But the bottom line is, I consider Angelo a spiritual being, and you've heard this before, and I'll say it again. I'm here on vacation for a very short period of time to experience this human drama, for goodness sakes. And I have the power to create my story. I can create the story that I want because I'm here to experience it. But at the core, the very core of my being, who am I? I'm a divine presence. I'm not under the domain or the power of this stuff that I create. We have created all this physical stuff, the carpet and all that. Many of my ministers say it's not just a building. It's just a place where we meet. But it's the consciousness that is in that building that does the creating. And that's what we are. And so on the end of it and the beginning of it is the fact that we are here as a soul. Kind of interesting. That Angelo is a soul. A soul that is here to learn how to function in a physical body. Isn't that absolutely cool? I didn't come up with this. I don't know where it came from. But let's clap on it. It's pretty cool. And so this loving force that we call the mom within, or whatever you want to call it, Big Sweetie, I like to call it, the divine presence or the divine feminine presence, because it's symbolized with our mother, this loving, nurturing part that our mother is like. And we'll be talking about that next week. Linda will be talking about that. But what we're all about is that we have the ability, we come here fully equipped with all the tools, spiritual tools, to enjoy, as a soul, the human experience. Now, it's not going to be always peachy keen. I think I'm here to enjoy this world, and I live that way. Even when we get into a challenge, I'm here because it's a good thing. Because I'm here to learn from that and see what I need to do about it. Having Big Sweetie help me out with this thing. And we've done this with our property, by the way. We've come a long ways on that. But the bottom line is that we